Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada.
Thank you. So today we're going to be reading, first of all, Hare Krishna. We're going to be reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 7, verse 40. So please, let's offer some prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sorry, is there no verse? The board? Okay, even more interesting. I'm nervous already now. Okay, so anyhow, I guess I'm just gonna. If anybody's got a phone or device, so you can. It's 2740. So Canto 2, Chapter 7, verse 40. If anybody's got any devices, they can use today. Finally, putting it into service. Okay. Vishnanu virya gananam katamoratiha.
Vishnanu virya gananam katamoratiha.
Ya pativanya pikabir vimamera jamsi.
Ya pativanya pikabir vimamera jamsi.
Chakshambaya Swaraha Saskalata Triprishtam Yasmatri Samya Sadanada Urukam Payanam. Anybody wants to try? Vishnu Nuvirya Gananam Katamoratiha Ya Partivanya Pikavir Vimamera Jamsi Jaskambaya Swara Krishankata Prishta Yasmatri Samya Sadana Durukam Payanam
Vishnu Nuvirya Gananam Katamoratiha
Vishnu Nuvirya Gananam Katamoratiha
Ya Partivanya Pikavir Vimane Rajasmi
Ya Partivanya Pikavir Vimamera Jamsi
Tashkambaya Sva Rahashakshala Viprishtam
Chakshambaya Swaraha Saskalata Triprishtam
Yasmat Trisanya Sadana Dudu Tapan
Yasmatri Samya Sadana Durukam Payanam. Mataji's? Vishnu Nuvirya Gananam Katamoratiha Ya Partivanya Pikavir Vimamera Jamsi Jaskambaya Swaraha Saskalata Triprishtam Yasmatri Samya Sadana Durukam Payanam. Vishnu Nuvirya Gananam Katamoratiha Ya Partivanya Pikavir Vimamera Jamsi Jaskambaya Swaraha Saskalata Triprishtam Yasmatri Samya Sadana Durukam Payanam. So we're going to read synonyms now. Vishnu, of Lord Vishnu. Nu, but. Virya, prowess. Gananam, in the matter of accounting. Katamaha, who else? Arhati, is able to do it. Iha, in this world. Yaha, one who. Partivani, the atoms. Api, also. Kavihi, great scientists. Vimame, might have counted. Rajamshi, particles. Chaskamba, could catch. Yaha, one who. Swarahasa, by his own leg. Akshalata, without being hampered. Triprishtam, the topmost planetary space. Yasmat, by which. Trisamya, the neutral state of the three modes. Sadanat, up to that place. Urukampayanam, moving very greatly. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Who can describe completely the prowess of Vishnu, Even the scientists whom I have counted the particles of the atoms of the universe cannot do so, because it is he only who in his form of Trivikram moved his leg effortlessly beyond the topmost planet, Satyaloka, up to the neutral state of the three modes of material nature, and all were moved. Om Jnanatimirandasya Dinanjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So thank you all very much for being here today, and I hope you give your blessings to me. I'm not commonly giving classes, so there are a bit of nerves here. And hopefully with blessings of yours, and there are many more elevated souls in the audience than I am, but just nobody here. So I hope you forgive me in advance for mistakes I'm probably going to make. So I'm going to read the purport now. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. The highest scientific advancement of the material scientist is atomic energy, but the material scientist is not able to have an estimation of the particles of atoms contained in the whole universe. But even if one is able to count such atomic particles or is able to roll up the sky like one's bedding, even then one is unable to estimate the extent of the prowess and energy of the Supreme Lord. He is known as Trivikram because once, in his incarnation of Vamana, he expanded his leg beyond the highest planetary system, Satyaloka, and reached the neutral state of the modes of nature called the covering of the material world. There are 7 layers of material coverings over the material sky, and the Lord could penetrate even those coverings. With his toe he made a hole through which the water of the causal ocean filters into the material sky, and the current is known as the sacred Ganges, which purifies the planets of the 3 worlds. In other words, no one is equal to the transcendently powerful Vishnu. He is omnipotent, and no one is equal or greater than him. So in this verse and purport, there is lots of lots of things are mentioned that we can talk about. Obviously, there is not enough time to talk about every aspect of the verse, so I will touch bases on Lord's incarnation and this pastime related to him, and as well as some of the deeper meanings of the personalities involved, and something that we can learn from this verse and from the purpose Srila Prabhupada kindly left for us. So, as we know, Lord Vamanadev, when he came as a dwarf, and he asked Bali Maharaj about what do I do, like, I would like, when he wanted Bali Maharaj to give him something, so Bali Maharaj said, I'll give you anything you want. And he said, yeah, I just want 3 steps of land. And we know the pastime that Lord Vamana, they've expanded, and he, with the 3rd step, as this verse says, he basically pierced the universe, because after the second step there was nothing left for him to give, for the Bali Maharaj to give. From this we can, just looking at this explanation here, that even if the scientists count all the atoms of the universe and seeing how the Lord with his toe he pierces the whole universe, there's like 7 layers, and he says effortlessly piercing. It's really even hard. I was trying to imagine even like how big must have been Lord Vamanadev. I mean, what was the actual size? Like even without, like how can we even perhaps imagine that with the toe he just pierced all the layers of the universe. We can't even see the end of the universe, never mind all the coverings. And then we all know from the causal ocean, few drops came, and that's known in this realm as Mother Ganga, the river that purifies not just this planet, but because as she comes down, Lord Shiva to stop, because again, thinking about the whole universe and the layers, and it says few drops to Lord Vamanadev, but to us, it was such a forceful water. I mean, there was so much of it that Lord Shiva had to stop it from crushing the whole planet. So he had it on his head, and he says Mother Ganga sat there for millennia, for like thousands of millennia in Lord Shiva's head, until he slowly let it go further. So because of that, Mother Ganga is very sacred, because obviously it touches lotus feet of Lord Vamanadev, then it touches Lord Shiva, who is Vaishnavam Tata Shambhu. Lord Shiva is greater of the Vaishnavas. And then it comes down to us, and it says that even nowadays, as we know, Mother Ganga is very special, because we can get purified by bathing in Ganga, and even just chanting Ganga when we shower, we can invoke the mercy of Mother Ganga. That's a little tip. His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj said, when you're showering, you can chant 3 times Ganga, 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 and then that water becomes special as well. That's the mercy of Ganga, because as with Krishna, when we say Ganga, it's non-different from Ganga. So it's kind of something special we can do even if we're not next to Mother Ganga. Now going back to the atoms, and he says that even if the scientists count up all the atoms of the universe, which we know is technically impossible, but let's say hypothetically scientists manage to count all the atoms, they still can't comprehend the greatness of the Lord. Because now, and think about this also, each atom, Paramatma, enters every living entity and every atom. So Lord Krishna expands, and he is present in every atom, within the heart of every living entity. It's kind of mind-blowing, isn't it? I mean, to me anyway, I got very tiny brain and tiny mind. But just to try to get some sort of understanding of the greatness of the Lord, whom we are trying to achieve in this lifetime, it's actually extremely deep subject matter, because at the end of the day, we are all here because we are trying to reestablish and reawaken our relationship with the Lord, right? I mean, if somebody asks anybody now here, what are you doing here? Like, why are you even here today, coming to the temple, listening to class? Well, what would be your answer? Anybody wants to try an answer? Maybe in a short, like, first thing that comes to your mind? Yes, Prabhu?
Purifying.
Okay, you want to purify? Okay, why do you want to get purified?
Because of the Krishna, to understand myself. Why I
Mm-hmm, okay, but why do you want to understand yourself?
have a relationship with Krishna.
Why do you want to have a relationship with Krishna?
Because I'm part of the masses of Krishna.
Mm-hmm. And then what?
And then what? I go back home to
And do what?
service,
What type of service?
devotional service.
Right. So you see, when we do a little bit of analysis, why are we here? And we ask ourselves, this is not a question you need to answer to anybody, but it's literally a very deep personal thing. And many times we get caught up into so many external things, and we are trying to, there is many rules and regulations, and I was reading just in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there was one part when Prabhupada says there is so many Vedas and Puranas, they actually contradict each other in so many ways. But the essence of all the Puranas is what? You just said love. Love for Krishna. Now, love, when we say love in this material world, things come to mind like, oh, we love somebody, and we can get a bit sentimental about this because our concept of love differs to the spiritual concept of love. However, there is very good news about it. Jivara Svarupa Hoya Krishnera Nityadas. Every living entity is a part and parcel of Krishna. The reason why I'm putting this into perspective is, so on one side in this verse we have amazing Lord, as almost bigger than the universe, piercing the covering of this material world. Mother Ganga, a few drops that equals, like, I don't know how big is Mother Ganga on this planet. It just goes through the whole continent. So we have that great personality, a Lord himself. And then we have us here, tiny little living entities, spirit souls, who are trying to reawaken our relationship with the Lord. And when you just think about that, it seems to be a huge gap in between, isn't it? Like, there you have a Lord who is like, we can't even think about how great is the Lord. And on the other side, it's us plodding along, trying to be devotees, trying to serve, trying to elevate ourselves to the position that we can actually offer ourselves to Krishna, with a genuine, pure love. Now, important thing about this is as we read Bhagavatam, and again, I'm trying to put things in. I just like to say why I'm doing this for. I'm trying to put into perspective us as individuals, as a spirit souls, Lord Krishna, and what we do to achieve the Lord, and how to serve. Because in Bhagavatam, we have many, many stories, and with these stories, there are many great personalities. And those who read Bhagavatam and went through the whole Bhagavatam, the stories are kind of, most of them describe some sort of mishap or misunderstanding or something that went wrong, right? And then explains what happened to the devotees involved, and then ends up with a surrender to Krishna and sort of resolution to that issue. Like when, I don't know, one story, because Lord Shiva was mentioned, when there was a sacrifice and Lord Shiva was present, and Daksha did a big sacrifice, and he looked at Lord Shiva, and he was like, look at him, covered in ashes, who he thinks he is, So he offended Lord Shiva because he based his concept of a devotee or a person on external appearance, and that was reason for his downfall. So from that story we can learn that externals and devotee not necessarily, maybe they don't match, because when we say somebody is a great devotee, why do we say that? What makes us say somebody is a great devotee? We have many great devotees around us, and contemporary ones, and also from the books. But when we say, oh, he or she is a great devotee, what are we basing our sort of perception on? Why do we say somebody is a great devotee?
Can I answer?
Yes, sure.
I don't want to take up much space here, time. Could we say that he's sort of devotee, he or she, is not subjected to the regulative principles of the Vedas? So, so a great devotee is pure devotee, and the Lord personally manifests within their pure minds, so they're not subjected. So they don't follow rules and regulations like we do.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, but I would like to bring it a little bit down to, like, so to say, down to earth. if you and me walk around the corridor and we comment, oh, that's a really nice devotee, that's a really great devotee, why do we say that? What do we see? Prabhu?
Well, I think we go with observables, and I think a lot of the time we look at service attitude and humility. It's quite a common way to look at it. Sometimes we look at a devotee's talents, but that doesn't necessarily actually correspond to them being Krishna conscious. But I think ultimately we're trying to see how Krishna conscious a person is, but we can't actually do it, so we just go with other things which indicate Krishna consciousness, and we may or may not be correct on doing that, and that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, Prabhu?
It's usually we look at the qualities of a devotee.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we may look at a devotee on a material level. This devotee is very kind, this devotee is nice, this devotee helped me in certain ways. And we say, oh, it's a very nice devotee. But on the spiritual level, it's a lot deeper to see. We may have to, because in order to see a devotee's spiritual consciousness, you also have to be on a certain level and not look too much materially. But anyway, it's the qualities of a devotee, I would say.
Yeah. So sorry, Prabhu, yes? They remind you of Krishna. And any Vaishnavis want to say something?
The attitude in which they serve Krishna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, thank you. The attitude they serve Krishna. Okay, so the reason again why I'm broaching this subject is we have a greatest philosophy, and we have the amazing Lord Krishna, who is a person. Believe it or not, Krishna is a person. Krishna is we say it, but do we actually believe it? Do we actually deeply accept that Krishna is a person? So this is another thing we need to sometimes re-examine, because sometimes we were saying behavior and attitude, and I would just add a few little things there. When we see a devotee, let's say Swami Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj, he's like, everybody's, oh, he's such an amazing devotee, right? And what do we see? I personally see great enthusiasm, kindness, compassion, happiness. He's happy, right? So it's something, they're very attractive qualities to see and inspiring, because when I think I want to be devotee, I want to be Krishna conscious, this is what I want to be. That's like my role model, and many others, because again, we're all different. I'm not saying that that's necessarily the rule, because as I said, we are all individuals, we are all different. But to me personally, I would feel that's something I would like to become one day, to be, genuinely, sincerely, lovingly engaged in Krishna service with enthusiasm, happiness, compassion, good service attitude, and obviously there is like about 1 million obstacles to overcome to come to that level. But I think if we are a little bit introspective and keep trying and noticing the little things within our hearts, rather than noticing everybody else's heart, because that's the tendency, isn't it? Did you see? What did he do? Or what did she do? So, but it's a tendency of the mind. The good news is that's not really us. Beginning, we are eternal living entities. We are eternal, part and parcels of Krishna. I heard once Shruti Dharma Prabhu mentioned, he walked into the room, we had a little class, and he just looked and he was like, I was just talking to, I can't tell you the whole thing, but I'm going to tell you the end. So there was some discussion about the deities, like putting deities in schools, like Radha Krishna deities or Gaurnitai deities. And without mentioning too many names, that devotee specifically said, one devotee, great devotee, said we shouldn't have Radha Krishna in schools. But Jananivas Prabhu said, but Prabhu, worshipping Radha and Krishna is the birthright of every living entity. And there was such a smile on Shruti Dharma Prabhu's face when he said it. He just had to share it. So we were all like, I don't know, for me that moment was such an amazing moment because it kind of, you know when you have that little moment of aha in Krishna consciousness, when you feel you learn something, you accepted another little truth in your heart, that actually truly every living entity has right to worship Radha and Krishna. Why? Because we belong to them. It's like, there's no doubt about it. We are theirs and they're ours. It's just we've forgotten. So every living entity means every living entity. And tying up with that concept, how great is the Lord, so Lord is, we all know Krishna is amazing, Krishna is great, but Krishna is also very grateful. So if Bali Maharaj only genuinely offered him just something small, Lord would be very grateful for that. Of course, he ended up offering the whole universe, which but in any case, when Lord says, offer me flower, water, leaf, with love, and I accept it. Think about again, in the context, how many leaves are on this planet even? How many leaves Krishna created? How much water is on this planet? We say 3/4 at least, right? How many flowers are on this planet? And now imagine such a common abundance we have, and Krishna says, offer me any of that with love, and I'll accept it. And even if we stray or do something wrong, Krishna will remember that moment when we offered him some water, or a flower, or a leaf, or boga, or service on the altar, or anything. Krishna will remember that. He always remembers every little service we've done. Even if some maybe for whatever reason somebody stays away from Krishna consciousness for many lifetimes, Krishna will still remember that one offering or several or whatever when devotee comes back. And he will feel gratitude for that. I mean, please meditate on those things. Krishna, the Supreme Lord, feels gratitude for our insignificant little offerings when we do it with love, because it says, we know Krishna has everything. Krishna is master of material energy, isn't it? Spiritual energies, yeah, Jiva Tattva, material energy, spiritual energy. He doesn't need anything, but there is one thing Krishna does not have. Would anybody like to say? What is the one thing that Krishna does not have? Yes?
About devotion to himself.
Okay. One thing that, in relation to us. That's it. So I'm going to repeat, our love for Krishna. So there is one thing in all of the universes, spiritual, material, and everywhere, that Krishna does not have, and that's your love, and mine, and everybody else's in this world. From each living entity, we are holding it back. We are designed to serve, we are designed to love, but because we are marginal potency, and because we have a very precious gift by Lord, which is called free will. And he mentions in, I think it's 1863, Bhagavad Gita verse, when he speaks Bhagavad Gita, and then he tells to Arjuna, I'm going to paraphrase, now I've told you all this knowledge, you heard everything, so he showed him universal form, and there was no doubt Krishna was the Supreme Lord. However, even with all of that, Krishna said, I've told you everything, now think about it. Krishna says, think about what I told you and choose to do what you want. Very important things. Something that we need to remind ourselves. Krishna didn't say, Arjuna, don't be so stupid. You know I'm God, right? So start acting now. Come on, serve me. Yeah, me, God, you, servant, got to do it. No other way. Does Krishna do that? Does Krishna ever do that? Coming back to us, we are trying to serve Krishna. We have association of devotees. We say sadhu sangha, right? Do we remember these things when we interact with devotees? Krishna is so patient. He says, I've told you everything. Do what you will. And Krishna meant it. He didn't mean like you, because why? He's given free will. Everyone here, every single devotee in ISKCON, or those who are not in ISKCON, those who are trying to serve the Lord, are doing it out of their own free will. Means, in a common word, volunteers. We are all volunteering our time, energy, mind, intelligence, whatever we can to Krishna. The association of devotee is important. Shishi Radha Gokulananda ki, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shishi Gaur Nitai ki jai. So in devotional service, what we are supposed to be doing, we said sadhu sangha is important, association of devotees is important. And thinking about, again, that Krishna has a gratitude towards each living entity for minute services. Again, in the context, how much gratitude should we feel to Srila Prabhupada for giving us all the knowledge? How much gratitude we should feel for every devotee who was there for us when we were crying or distressed or confused or needed help, who helped us, supported us. How much gratitude we should feel for everybody who ever enhanced our Krishna consciousness in any way. And that includes also the people who are not officially devotees, so to say, because there are many nice people who also give sometimes unexpected support or help us and support us. So again, living entity, Krishna's servant, they don't know about it. They might know soon. So gratitude is so important. And understanding how Krishna has gratitude towards each insignificant, like countless living entity there, and we are one of them. And thinking that, what am I doing? And we have many problems in spiritual life. There's always problems, obstacles, adidaivika, adhyatmika, adhibautika. We are facing, miseries from living entities, miseries from the weather and nature, miseries from our own minds. They exist, right? Anybody is free from those here? Or anybody experience some freedom? I don't. But we know it's a constant uphill struggle. And with all of that, we experience that we're still trying to push through all of that and serve. And that requires faith, determination. Association of devotee gives us platform where we can fulfill those things. Okay? And appreciating that and having like a moment when we actually follow the path of self-realization. What is self-realization? We talk about philosophy. Do we even understand the meaning of it? Self-realization. Whom are we? Self. What are we realizing, right? We need to, because we have our habits. We are conditioned with so many things. Self-realization in Krishna consciousness is really unpacking and unpicking and sort of peeling off the layers of what is not in order to reveal what it is. You know how they say, when the artist sees a big stone, he already sees the sculpture within. He only reveals it. That's how they see it. He carves the sculpture and it becomes a beautiful masterpiece. So in a similar way, as a devotees, it's our individual responsibility to carve what is not Krishna consciousness, what is not helping us in our devotional service, what is hindering us, what is causing us to make offenses, what is causing us to not to be happy in Krishna consciousness, right? Isn't that the point? We want to be happy. So we need to take away those things and actually allow ourselves as a spirit souls to shine. And acting on the spiritual platform, I mean, obviously there is whole philosophy we know and the knowledge. We have three elements to it. Oh God, my brain is getting a bit burned here. So let me just remind myself. So yes, so we have Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. So these are our processes, you know. So Sambandha is like what it is. It's our relationship with Krishna, right? I'm going to jump to something else. I'm going to go to Prayojana now because it's the ultimate goal of life. It's actually acting in relationship with Krishna. So these are interesting things because sometimes we spend too much thinking, how am I going to do this? So we get overwhelmed with so many rules, regulations, and everything that comes with it. Some of them, you know, we have major ones we need to follow, of course, but we need to have a healthy balance of understanding. Before we even figure out how, we need to first understand what is that I want. A really important thing. This is not automated process. This is not like you come here, you follow the sadhana, and things will magically just happen. You're gonna come like a washing machine. I don't know. You get in, tumble, and you come out. Oh, I'm done. Haribol. It doesn't work like that. Because that free will we were talking about earlier is the very important thing. Why? Because free will means we are choosing what to do. And can we blame others for not making right choices in life? We often do. We blame, I don't know, government, we blame this, we blame that, because there are some miseries happening. But bottom line is, everything we do in our life is really on us. The choices we make are our choices, which we use our free will and independence for. Consequences of those choices can vary, but then if we made so-called wrong choice, it's actually not really a bad thing because we learn what is not. Right? Isn't it? So we do something and we try to cook with certain spices and it comes out, so we will learn, okay, I'm not going to cook like this. So it's not really a big thing. We learn something from experience. We learn that, okay, this is not how you cook. You need to change the setting. You need to change the maybe heat or spices or something, right? So in life is like this. In Krishna consciousness, it's going to be up and down. And the choices we make, sometimes we try to make choices based on knowledge we have and experience. So we call that jnana and vijnana. Jnana is great, we need some knowledge, but we say knowledge is power, and I would just say a little bit, maybe I back to different, because knowledge in its own is good to have, but that knowledge is not going to bring us, unless we put this knowledge into practice and apply it in our daily lives, is not going to take us anywhere. We can know everything, all the shastras. There is one gentleman in Germany, I heard, again, my spiritual master, His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj mentioned once. There is a person in Germany, he's got like a PhD on Chaitanya Charitamrita and on life of Lord Chaitanya. And anything you want to ask about Lord Chaitanya, he will know. But guess what? He's not a devotee. But he knows, he knows, I don't know, thousands times more things than I could ever probably learn about Lord Chaitanya. But he doesn't believe that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Lord. He doesn't offer service and he doesn't love Lord Chaitanya. So we should be careful not to end up being that person that we got PhD in knowing everything, but not actually applying that knowledge. Only when we apply the knowledge, we can actually gain realizations. By the mercy of Chaitya Guru, who is Krishna within the heart, and external Guru, who is our spiritual master, or Srila Prabhupada, or even other devotees or people. Anybody can externally help us in our spiritual life. Those who do Sankirtan out, they know that there is lots of gurus on the street who teach us lots of lessons. And in this process, we slowly progress. But the importance of going back to the qualities, we need to develop the qualities. It's because we are part and parcels of Krishna. We know Krishna has 64 qualities. We have up to 50. So those qualities we have as a spirit soul, they come in a minute form, like a drop. It says like a drop in the ocean, but the drop of the ocean is same as the ocean. So these qualities are the same, but in a tiny quantity. The quality is the same. I can't stress importance of developing those qualities as a devotee, because without those qualities, we are really wasting our time in a way that we are not growing spiritually, we are not actually making progress, we are not actually taking away what is not, because we are not introspective enough to stop and see, okay, do I have anger issues? Okay, what do I do about it? We tend to be, the tendency is to cover up and hide everything and just be like, I'm such a good devotee. I hope everybody can see. I'm such a good devotee. Can everybody see me? I'm just doing this service. Look at it. So there is a tendency to just sort of really show, and at least I know I'm pretender anyway, so that happens. You know, I'm hoping by pretending maybe one day I'll be the real person, real authentic devotee. But it's on the long run is not the best solution. Best solution is to understand why, you know, first of all, going back to prayojana, is acting in relationship with the Lord is the highest goal of life. So this is what we're trying to achieve. This is what I believe everybody here is trying to achieve. To act in relationship with Krishna, to simply be connected, to understand Krishna as a person, and to offer our personal, individual love and service to the Lord in our unique way. Everyone here is unique, different. Krishna created us all different. We have the same philosophy, but our realizations, our path will be different. Hence, devotee, each individual, will serve the Lord within their own ability, talents, hard work, and obviously choosing how to offer it to Krishna. Within parameters of what Srila Prabhupada gave us, there will be loads of varieties, and we need to start learning that that's also okay, that devotees, they don't have to do service what I'm doing. It's perfectly fine if somebody is doing something different to what I do, and to kind of accept that this movement and Krishna consciousness, like Prabhupada said, I build a house that everybody can live. He didn't say only a certain category of people can live in the house I build. He said everybody. And everybody means simply that. Sometimes simplicity is right in our faces. Everybody means everybody. And the reason I'm saying this, because when we don't see things the right way through the eyes of the Shastra Chakshu, of the spiritual, through the Shastra and through our own realizations, we commit offenses. And those offenses are hindering us. They're not just offenses we read every morning for the sake of reading. Again, we need to understand why we're reading offenses against the holy name, because so we understand how to recognize them, so we avoid them. Isn't it? That's why we're trying to understand them, so we can avoid those offenses. Right? And on the plus side, by avoiding those offenses, we try to forge positive, enthusiastic, loving relationship with devotees. And I'm looking at the time, it's time to finish. But anyhow, so just to summarize it, going back to the Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana, which boils down, how do we understand that great personality, Lord Krishna, is, of course, Radharani. I'm kind of too focused on, but of course, Radha and Krishna in our Sampradaya, we worship Srimati Radharani, is to understand, first of all, what is that you want? And please, not to me, but do this like a little homework at home and your free time. 3 things. Ask yourself, what do I want in Krishna consciousness? What is my goal? Have a clarity about what you're trying to achieve. It helps. Then ask yourself, why do I want to achieve that? And dig deep. Ask yourself, like I was asking you several times, why? Really go dig deep into your own heart. Find that why. Because what happens when you find that prayojana, you understand what you want to achieve, why you want to achieve, because it's your eternal relationship, right? It's your sambandha, it's there, it's God-given right, we have that, it's ours, we should take it, right? Lord Chaitanya came, Prabhupada came, they said, here, take it, this is for you. Then we have Abhideya at the end. Then it fits naturally. How are we going to achieve this? That's when we follow the sadhana, satsanga, follow the, all the process Srila Prabhupada has given us in ISKCON. And it becomes much more meaningful and simpler to follow. And in that process, we understand ourselves to be authentic, unique personalities who have our own, personal relationship with Krishna. And that's our main work in this lifetime. It's not about trying to fit, it's not about trying to just sort of day in, day out do same thing without stopping and thinking, why am I even doing this? What's the meaning of all of this? So please do a little bit of introspection and try to understand, try to see yourself that I want to be that spiritual person. I want to choose to love Krishna. I want to be that person. I want to connect. I really want that relationship, right? To come to that, we need to read regularly. We need to chant. And in all of that, sincerity, determination, and love is the price to pay. Now you think for yourself, are you willing to pay that price? To, you want to be sincere, you want to be authentic, and you want to develop that love, and you're going to be determined. It's like, this is what I want. And then you got to work for it. With consciousness, with your consciousness. It says, movement for Krishna consciousness. Being conscious of Krishna. So when we do stuff and we are not conscious of Krishna, we need to stop and think, am I just on the autopilot now? Like I'm just doing stuff automatically, or am I just going like shna shna ram ram ram, or am I gonna just actually think, hang on, I'm actually connecting, it's direct phone call to Krishna. I'm chanting. Prabhupada corrected one devotee when he said, Krishna, one devotee was giving class, and Prabhupada was in the audience. Sometimes he would do that to just enable and encourage devotees to give classes. And devotee said, Krishna is in his holy name. And Prabhupada corrected him. He said, Krishna is not in his holy name. Krishna is the holy name. So I was like, oh wow, because I was, Krishna is in, and but such a small difference, but really when you think deeply, it's actually a huge difference. It's not Krishna is in his holy name, Krishna is his holy name. And I was thinking, I better improve my chanting. So anyway, leaving you with that, on that note, and hopefully that everyone can engage, use the free will and whatever you've got, all the talents, everything you've got in you. Don't compare yourself to others. You are you on your unique path to Krishna. Just go for it in this lifetime. We don't know how much time we've got. So put a smile on your face, be happy, be grateful. Gratitude is antidote for all the problems that we have in this world. Gratitude is antidote for all the problems we have in this world. If we have gratitude, the rest is manageable. So all glories to all of you, and thank you for being patient. And I just maybe literally one or two questions if anybody wants to, or chastisement. Or
I'd like to thank you for your class. It was very nice. And I appreciate in the beginning you said, it appears that we're plodding along. Because actually I think it's a matter of perspective. And like you see the jets going in the sky, and it seems like they're going very slow. But I happened to be present once at a centennial ceremony, and a jet plane flew over our heads, full speed, 100 feet off the ground, and it literally sounded like the description of Dhruva Maharaj's arrows, like a screaming peacock. But it was the same speed. And I think it's sometimes devotional service, we view it like that. It seems like we're plodding along, but if it takes one lifetime, even 300 lifetimes, in comparison to, we may have been here 8,400,000 different lives, it's actually a very short time. Yeah. And yesterday, Srila Prabhupada, he was saying that even if a child is just offering a flower, Prabhupada said that's a deposit in his spiritual bank account. It's a powerful thing. So all those things we're doing in devotional service, they're actually like supersonic. They're actually extremely powerful spiritual activities. It may seem insignificant, just offering a flower or sitting down eating prasadam, but everything we're doing actually has extreme spiritual potency. And like you're saying, we have to have the gratitude and awareness that what we've been given and actually how powerful it is. So thank you for bringing those things into perspective.
Thank you. Anybody else? Oh.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class. I was just thinking about this person who you were mentioning about, who read Chaitanya Charitamrita and who knew it very well, but was not a devotee. So I was just thinking, what is the future of such a person? I was just wondering whether, because we know that in order to really benefit, we have to have faith. If we study the scriptures, we need faith. Otherwise, we will not be able to benefit. But I was just wondering whether it still will bring some benefit just because the person touched the book, still they had some contact with the scriptures, or will it be counterproductive that they will, have some, it will be like an obstacle that they were studying, but they did it in a wrong attitude.
I think this type of things is, again, it's very hard, and it's virtually impossible to actually understand what's going on in someone's life, especially spiritual life. As I said, and I've been around for some time, a few decades, and one thing I've learned is best not to speculate on anybody's spiritual path and stuff, because or trying to think what's going to happen, because that's, again, it's an individual journey, it's individual thing what devotee does or doesn't do. I feel the safest position, to what my little realization is always to be supportive and encouraging and stay positive and kind to other people. And because, we all make mistakes, we all do something inappropriate, or I don't know, we don't follow everything 100%. No, I can freely say that probably maybe some great souls here, but I would say that most of us slip away here and there with something, right? And that faith and whatever we have, it also fluctuates. That's why when we come to platform of Nishta, which is more steady platform, that's when our faith is more firm. And again, everything complements each other. It's not just one thing. We often forget, we focus sometimes on one thing, but there is so many layers and so many variables that can help us in Krishna consciousness and enhance our Krishna consciousness. But one of the, again, personal realization, most important for me is association of devotees who are kind, supportive, and nice, and helpful in Krishna conscious themselves. So we can, we get that nourishment, we get that sometimes kick, but what somebody does or how their faith, whether it's productive or counterproductive, Krishna is the only person who will actually know that. Because sometimes person might need to go through a process of learning, sometimes, I don't know, I'm sometimes feeling I'm quite stupid and I need to learn through experience, and I try things, I'm thinking, you shouldn't have done that. But it doesn't disqualify me from following the process. Well, I hope not. But it's sometimes it's very hard thing to kind of think, and that's why it's even more important. Best thing is to focus on ourselves and make sure that our Krishna consciousness is up and running, in the best possible way. Then we can help others with their Krishna consciousness. The oxygen mask in the plane, that famous thing devotees often say, first you have to put mask on yourself and then help, because again, what example we give, what we do is more important than looking what other people are doing or not doing. And even if you see somebody doing something wrong, are we doing it just to see, it's wrong, or are we doing it with intention to actually analyze that and see what can we do to help them? It's a huge difference. And that's Lord Chaitanya's mood. It's compassion and help. And we all know that our best time in Krishna consciousness is when we are being supported and helped, and our worst time is when we feel rejected or mistreated, or in association of devotees, disappointed, or things happened and we don't feel. So again, going back to all what I was saying, we ourselves need to become good examples, good representatives of Srila Prabhupada, genuine persons, and developing our own good qualities. And in that process, simultaneously, we can help others, and by being grateful, humility comes as well. And sorry, I went to a different way. But anyway, that's basically it. It's like there is no really answer to that, per se. We don't know what is best or not best. We can only, from our own experience, we can offer the best solution to a person. But our intention has to be pure. Our intention has to be, I want to help this devotee. It's not like, oh, how could you do that? That's so wrong. You're never going to be a good devotee. So, we need to figure out, what am I doing? That's what I'm saying. What are we doing here? Are we here to help, assist, be servants? Or are we here to kind of, walk around and just sort of dish judgment to people? I don't know if that probably doesn't answer your question. But yes, Prabhu.
Devotee Atoshika Prabhu, he mentioned something that was a very wonderful statement. He said, whatever you see is something that we should understand. If you see it or you spot it, you got it. And I don't know if that means anything. So if you see the good in others, that's what we should be looking for. And if we are critical, then we should understand that actually that's a reflection of ourselves. If you see that person's faulty, that's the fault we see in ourselves. So it's a very interesting statement. So it is careful. You've got to watch the mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
And see the good. And if you find yourself being critical, then you're only analyzing yourself because you recognize it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you see, sometimes I do need to just add to this a little bit. When we also see something bad, depending on our position, sometimes, like say if you're a parent or something, you need to correct as well. And the whole point, again, seeing something, so to say, bad or discrepancy, if we are in position of authority or something, then some certain things need to be addressed. We shouldn't tolerate nonsense, we shouldn't tolerate discrepancies, we shouldn't tolerate things that are not in line with Srila Prabhupada's teachings, in the sense of, if somebody is doing it, the attitude, as I said, it needs to be to help them and make them help them see what they're doing and what's the solution, what's the best way for them to avoid doing that in the future. It's not about demonizing anyone, but it's not also about just sort of, I've got my Krishna consciousness and doesn't matter what's going on. I mean, if depending on our position as well, then we need to act accordingly. Because if we're given service, if we are offered service and platform to like be a manager or something, or a guru or something, then it's a great responsibility. It's to guide devotees as well and to correct them. And that correction needs to be done in a loving, helpful, and supportive way, not with the intention to, just crush somebody. But it's not always good to kind of just sort of think, we see good, of course we should see good, but if there is something not so good, it also needs to be addressed, because consequences of those bad actions can affect many, many people, many devotees. And sometimes devotees leave Krishna consciousness because of things that were happening that were not being addressed or dealt with appropriately. Sorry. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gaura Nitai ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki jai.